but I am really delighted to be here, and I'd like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Soroptimist International, the European chapter in this particular case, for the wonderful work you do all over the world. To really, for many of you, you are here because you care about others. You are not basically here for your own sake, because I'm sure your own affairs in matters of water and sanitation are taken care of. But that is not the reality for the majority of the women and the children they support in the developing world. So I'm going to give you a perspective that at this stage in my deliberation might have been covered, but I will give it an angle that also requires our collective action. So I have chosen to focus, as already presented by the President. I am head of UN Habitat, which is the United Nations agency really dealing with the settlements, human settlements, cities and towns, and a number of you, like Amy, are very familiar with the work of UN Habitat. The agency really takes care of what you can call housing and urban development, or village development, town development, settlements of humankind of different sizes, but tends to focus on the cities and towns, because that's where the challenges are greatest. And within the United Nations Family Program, therefore, we are tasked with coordinating the implementation of what is called the Habitat Agenda. The Habitat Agenda, to put it simply, is the United Nations idea of delivering adequate shelter for all and sustainable human settlements in an urbanizing world. Urbanizing world because humanity is in the process of moving, as I will be elaborating. So we are now living in the urban millennium, with 51% of humanity now living in cities and towns. This has never happened in the recorded history of mankind. We are actually no longer rural species, but we are increasingly urban species. So you can say, if you are raised in science, that Homo sapiens has become Homo urbanus. So let me give you some facts. I have decided this morning to focus not so much on water, which is very important, but on sanitation. And I feel that in the company of my fellow sisters, and of course the men who are here who are supporting us, is that there is this taboo that is not spoken of called sanitation. So within, as we discuss water, we cannot forget sanitation. Because as women, we know water is life, but sanitation is dignity. And I'm afraid to say, for the majority of humankind, this dignity is simply not there. So the United Nations in the year 2000, when the world leaders met and passed the Millennium Declaration in the year 2000, under Goal 7, which is called as environmental sustainability, it was agreed under Target 10 that we have to deliver water. But sanitation was forgotten in 2000. A number of you, and I can see Amy and the audience nodding, sanitation was added as a campaign activity in Johannesburg. That's when it became part of the Millennium Development Goals. So nowadays we talk about water and sanitation. So I would like to tell this distinguished audience that it is very important to link water and sanitation all the time, because the two are inextricably always linked. So maybe, what are the facts there? When you are meeting, as we are doing here in this great city of Amsterdam, the flashing or the sound of the toilet is something that we take for granted. You know, waterborne sanitation is something that is a modern convenience and taken for granted. But 2.6 million people, of whom about 1 billion is children in the developing world, they have never heard the sound of a flashing toilet. So this thing is simply not available to them. And it is estimated that every 20 seconds, a child dies as a result of poor sanitation, This is equivalent to 20 Boeing 747 aircraft crashing every day. I have to be dramatic here to make my point, but I would like us to internalize these facts. When a small plane goes down everywhere, and since I'm always in planes, I follow it very closely, the whole world becomes concerned, and rightly so, rightly so. But you can imagine these are the silent tsunamis, the silent tragedies, and it is a movement like the Soroptimist, in my view, who can really bring this kind of tragedy much closer to home. Unless this tragedy, unless these facts I'm giving you become household issues on a dinner table, we shall not make much progress. So we have 1.5 million preventable deaths each year taking place, but we are not doing very much about it. So at any one time, it is estimated that patients suffering from waterborne diseases occupy half of the world's hospital beds. We are meeting at a time of a financial crisis, financial crisis. Money is difficult to come by. But imagine this waste, which could be avoided through prevention. Each year, more than 200 million tons of human waste and quantities of wastewater and solid waste go uncollected. They are eyesores, they are constant irritants in many, many cities of the developing world, and sometimes even in the advanced societies.